There is a truth so simple, yet so profound, that most people spend their entire lives walking past it without ever noticing. The world you see, the circumstances you endure, the endless patterns you believe are imposed upon you, are none other than a mirror, not a passive object, nor a mere reflection of light and shadow, but a living mirror. One that listens, one that obeys, one that without fail reflects the exact image you silently hold within yourself. This is the essence of what many ancient traditions whispered across time, concealed beneath layers of metaphor and myth. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something that responds to you. Yet even knowing this, most continue the futile effort of trying to change the reflection by adjusting the mirror itself, rearranging their external world, seeking new environments, chasing new relationships, acquiring more wealth, believing that somehow the reflection will shift first, and only then will they feel whole, fulfilled, powerful. But the mirror is impartial. It does not respond to the frantic gestures of someone waving in front of it. It responds to the image, quiet, hidden, internal, that you carry in your mind and heart. This is the mirror principle. It is not a technique, nor a strategy that demands you act first upon the world outside. It is a realization, so transformative that once it sinks into your consciousness, you will understand why nothing in your life truly changes unless you change first. If you have ever wondered why your efforts often seem in vain, why, despite all the plans, the resolutions, the external adjustments, life still reflects back the same struggles, the same frustrations, the same limits, it is because the mirror cannot show you anything beyond what you present to it. The reflection is loyal, brutally loyal. And here is the paradox. The moment you attempt to force reality to change without first altering the inner image, you set yourself into an endless loop of disappointment. But when you shift internally, when you begin to sculpt a new image within, the mirror has no choice but to follow. It is law. It is the structure of existence itself. In this video, we will journey deeply into this principle. We will explore not only how it operates beneath the surface of your daily experiences, but how to consciously apply it so that your reality ceases to be a series of random, disconnected events and becomes a deliberate, elegant reflection of who you choose to be. Prepare yourself, because this understanding is not for the faint-hearted. It requires you to confront your reflection, to meet your own gaze without distortion, and to recognize that the power to transform your world has always been within you. If you are ready, then let us proceed beyond the surface, into the depths of the mirror principle. At the heart of the mirror principle lies a revelation that few dare to fully accept. The outer world is nothing more than the echo of your inner convictions. Every belief you harbor, every story you tell yourself, every identity you assume, even unconsciously, is projected outward and returned to you, often magnified by the mirror of reality. This mirror does not filter, nor does it interpret. It does not ask if the image you present is what you truly desire, or whether it serves your highest good. It simply reflects, flawlessly, impartially, relentlessly. Consider this. When someone believes deep within that they are unworthy of love, they might search endlessly for affection in the external world. Yet no matter how fervently they seek, their relationships will mirror their core belief. Not because the world is cruel, but because the mirror cannot show you what you refuse to see within yourself. Likewise, those who perceive the world as dangerous, scarce, or competitive will find themselves surrounded by circumstances that validate these views. Their lives become a continuous loop, an echo chamber where their inner fears and doubts materialize again and again, as if reality conspires to prove them right. But this is not a conspiracy of malice. It is a conspiracy of precision, a law operating at the most fundamental level of existence. The mirror does not reflect your wishes, your fleeting desires, or even your spoken affirmations. It reflects what you fundamentally believe to be true about yourself and about life. This is why superficial attempts to think positive often fail, because beneath those conscious thoughts, the unconscious image remains intact, often rooted in years of conditioning, trauma, or inherited narratives. The mirror principle demands that we move beyond surface-level change. It invites us to engage in the courageous work of inner transformation, to shift not only what we consciously think, but what we unconsciously accept as possible and real. This is not about manipulating external factors, nor is it about controlling others. It is about recognizing that the only true locus of power resides within. As the hermetic axiom teaches, as within, so without. The mirror does not respond to force. It responds to authenticity. If your internal image is fragmented, conflicted, or rooted in lack, the mirror will reflect fragmentation, conflict, and scarcity. But when you align your inner image with coherence, clarity, and abundance, the mirror begins to reflect a reality that harmonizes with your new state of being. This is why change often feels elusive, because most people attempt to change their circumstances without first changing the image that is being reflected. They alter their jobs, their relationships, even their locations, yet they carry with them the same internal blueprint, and so the same patterns reappear, only with different faces and different settings. The mirror principle is not just a philosophical idea. It is a mechanism, a spiritual law that governs the relationship between consciousness and reality. And once understood, it grants you an extraordinary power, the ability to become a conscious co-creator of your life, rather than a passive victim of circumstance. And so, across centuries, symbolic narratives and ancient allegories have quietly but insistently pointed toward this profound truth, inviting those who seek to listen beyond the surface into deeper layers of meaning that silently shape the reality we call our own. Throughout the ages, mystics, sages, and alchemists have cloaked the mirror principle within symbols, parables, and myths, as if veiling it from the unprepared, while offering it in plain sight to those with eyes to see. Consider the ancient tale of Narcissus. He gazes into the still waters, mesmerized by the image before him, unable to comprehend that the reflection he adores is none other than himself. This myth is often reduced to a lesson in vanity, but in truth, it is a parable about identification with the reflection, mistaking the mirror for the source. Narcissus is not condemned because he loves himself, but because he is trapped by the illusion that the reflection is separate, external, autonomous. He does not recognize that the image in the water responds only to his own presence, his own posture, his own being. In this way, many today remain entranced by their own reflections, the circumstances of their lives, without ever questioning the origin of what they see. They chase shadows, fixate on outcomes, attempt to manipulate the reflection, but rarely do they turn inward to alter the image that casts those reflections. Another symbol emerges in the ancient hermetic mirror, an artifact not of glass, but of consciousness itself. The hermetic tradition speaks of the universe as a grand mirror, reflecting the divine mind, the nous, into infinite forms and patterns. In this cosmology, every atom, every breath, every experience is a reflection of the one mind, fractally echoed across dimensions. To recognize this is to understand that reality is not something distant or alien, but a living extension of your own internal state. The mirror principle is embedded in these teachings, subtly woven into the very fabric of esoteric philosophy. Even the mystical phrase, "know thyself," inscribed on the ancient temple of Delphi, is a pointer toward this mirror-like relationship between inner awareness and external manifestation. For when you know yourself, you come to know the reflection. And in knowing the reflection, you realize the profound truth that you have always been both the observer and the observed, both the sculptor and the sculpture, both the image and the mirror. In alchemical texts, the mirror is often represented as the vessel of transmutation, the crucible wherein lead is transformed into gold, a process not of altering the elements externally, but of refining the inner composition until the reflection shifts accordingly. The alchemist does not fight the lead. He transmutes himself through the disciplined work of inner purification, knowing that only then will the outer world yield the golden reflection he seeks. These symbolic narratives are not antiquated relics of a bygone era. They are encoded wisdom, intended to guide us through the labyrinth of our own perceptions. They remind us that life's patterns are not arbitrary, nor are they imposed by some capricious force beyond our control. Rather, they are intimate reflections shaped by the vibrational signature we carry within. To see life clearly, to comprehend the patterns that emerge again and again, is to recognize the mirror's fidelity and thus to reclaim the creative authority that has always been yours. This understanding does not remain suspended in the realm of theory. It descends quietly and inevitably into the fabric of daily life, offering itself as a practice, a way of being that subtly reshapes the very relationship we hold with the reality that surrounds us. To integrate the mirror principle into your life is not to adopt a new philosophy. It is to embrace a new mode of being, one that recognizes the futility of trying to reshape the reflection without first transforming the image that generates. The first and most essential step is to become acutely aware of the beliefs and narratives you hold, often without question, about yourself and the world. Ask yourself, what do I consistently affirm through my thoughts, my emotions, my actions? Do I silently carry the belief that I am unworthy of success, unlovable, powerless to change? These are not just idle thoughts. They are the blueprint the mirror of reality consults when crafting the reflection that unfolds before you each day. Thus, integration begins with radical self-honesty, to look within, not with judgment or condemnation, but with the compassionate curiosity of someone uncovering long-forgotten scripts that have shaped their world in unseen ways. Once these beliefs are brought into the light of awareness, the opportunity for transmutation arises. You do not need to force the mirror to show you a different reality. You need only to change what you present before it. If, for example, you wish to experience abundance, yet internally you carry the image of lack, believing resources are scarce, opportunities are limited, or that you are undeserving, the mirror will not argue with you. It will agree. It will faithfully reflect your conviction, presenting you with experiences that validate your scarcity mindset. But when you begin to rehearse a new internal image, one aligned with abundance, worthiness, and possibility, the mirror, as always, will respond in kind. This is where the power of conscious affirmation becomes a practical tool, not as a superficial repetition of empty phrases, but as a deliberate act of identity sculpting. By affirming, I am worthy, I am a creator, the universe responds to my intentions, and by consistently embodying this new identity, you begin to shift the vibrational signal you emit. The mirror, with no option but to reflect, starts to reorganize the circumstances of your life around this emergent image. Yet integration also requires patience and persistence. For unlike the instantaneous reflections we see in a physical mirror, the reflection in reality often unfolds with a delay, moderated by the density of the material plane and the inertia of long-standing patterns. Many, upon not seeing immediate change, fall back into old beliefs, thereby resetting the cycle and perpetuating the very reality they sought to escape. But the key is to remain loyal to the new image, even when the reflection lags behind. To hold steady in your chosen identity, not as a hopeful fantasy, but as a quiet knowing that by law, the mirror must eventually comply. And in this process, you begin to notice small shifts, subtle confirmations, moments when the external world offers evidence of your internal transformation. A conversation that goes differently, an opportunity that emerges unexpectedly, a relationship that heals. Each is a signal that the mirror is adjusting, realigning itself to the new image you have chosen to hold. Practical integration, then, is not about manipulating outcomes directly. It is about mastering your inner world, knowing that reality is but its faithful echo. It is about living each day with the awareness that you are both the source and the sculptor of the reflection you experience. And as these threads weave together, a quiet invitation emerges to step beyond mere reflection, to embody the conscious creator within, and to walk with deliberate intent through the mirror into the life that has long awaited your arrival. The mirror stands before you, silent, impartial, unwavering. It waits, as it always has, for you to choose what image you will present to it, not with words alone, but with the totality of your being, your beliefs, your emotions, your identity. This is the ultimate realization of the mirror principle, that reality is not some external force acting upon you, but an intimate, immediate reflection of who you are within. When you shift inwardly, the world cannot help but shift in response. This is not theory, it is law. It is the architecture of existence itself, woven into the very fabric of consciousness. The question, then, is not whether your reality will change, but whether you will claim the responsibility and the privilege of changing first. To step beyond the familiar patterns, the inherited narratives, the self-imposed limitations, and to begin sculpting an internal image that aligns with your truest desires, your highest aspirations, your most authentic self. This is the sacred work of the alchemist, the mystic, the conscious creator. It is not easy. It requires vigilance, patience, and above all, courage. The courage to confront the reflection without flinching, to recognize that the frustrations, the obstacles, the repetitions in your life are not punishments, but invitations. Invitations to evolve, to transcend, to become. And so, I invite you now, not merely to contemplate these ideas, but to embody them. To begin, in this very moment, choosing the image you wish to see reflected in your world, to cultivate it, to nurture it, to live as though it is already real. Because in truth, it is. The mirror is already responding. The shifts, though perhaps subtle at first, are underway. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you amplify, every belief you reinforce, ripples outward, shaping the reflection that soon will stand undeniably before you. Let this be the moment you stop blaming the mirror and start mastering the image. Let this be the threshold where you cross from passivity into power, from reaction into creation, from unconscious reflection into conscious manifestation. The mirror principle offers you nothing less than the key to your own liberation. Take it, use it, and watch with awe and reverence as the world you once thought was fixed begins to transform, reflecting not who you have been, but who you have chosen to become. If this journey through the mirror principle has resonated with you, I invite you to remain with us on this path of inner mastery and spiritual awakening. Subscribe to this channel so that together we can continue to explore the hidden architectures of reality, the forgotten wisdom of the ancients, and the profound truths that illuminate the mystery of existence. And if you feel called, share your reflections in the comments below. For as you speak your truth, you help others recognize their own reflection, their own power, their own capacity to create. Thank you for walking with me through the mirror. Until next time, keep shaping your world from within.